So are you a fan of tea, especially Russian black tea and leather and fragrances? Because if you are, you're absolutely gonna love Masque Milano's Russian tea. Hey, what's going on guys? Hunter here and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new, what I do is I make fragrance related content. So if you love fragrances, go to smash the subscribe button down below. But that's right guys, we are reviewing one of my favorite tea-based fragrances money can buy. I was so impressed with this fragrance. It was basically a love at first sniff when I got it in and I was just blown away. And of course I'm talking about Russian tea by the house of Masque Milano. Now, Masque Milano is actually a fairly new house I've recently gotten into. If you guys didn't catch my recent review of Tango, which is probably their most popular from the house, and the only one I actually knew about before diving into the house and getting 3 bottles. But man, Russian tea might be my favorite alongside Tango within the house. It might even surpass Tango if I'm being honest. It's just something about this fragrance that's very unique, just very niche-like, and just very, very high quality, man. I cannot wait to review this one for you. I do want to actually mention that this fragrance was actually sent out for review by the guys over at Maxx. If you guys haven't heard of Maxx, they are a discount fragrance website that I've been purchasing from for over 2 years, guys. And most of the fragrances you actually see behind me was actually purchased from Maxx. They have some of the best prices, the fastest shipping. Most fragrances you purchase from them have 2-day free shipping, which is just phenomenal. You can't really get that anywhere else, man. And the customer service and everything over there is just top notch. So shout out to those guys. I'll leave their link down below where you'll be able to purchase Russian tea and anything else from their website. So head over there and check them out. So let's go with some information about Russian tea. Now, this fragrance was launched in 2014, so it has been around for quite a few years now. It's definitely not new. And as far as the retail goes, you can pick up a 35 ml bottle like I have in hand for $150. So it is a pretty expensive for the milliliters you are gonna get, but I'll be honest with you guys, you're not gonna have to spray a lot of this stuff. So 35 mils for me, which by the way, that's kind of an odd size, but it is what it is. It's very unique, but the 35 mils is gonna last pretty much a lifetime for me because this stuff is potent. But they also do sell a 100 ml bottle for $400, so you can opt for that one as well. But yeah, the 35 ml bottles are just so iconic to me, especially with the design, but we'll look at that a little bit more in depth in a few. Now, Julian Raskinet is the perfumer behind Russian tea. Now, I do know some of his fragrances he has actually made on his resume, such as one that I would consider to be a masterpiece. Of course, I'm talking about Creed Royal Oud. I actually rated that a perfect 10 out of 10. That's one of my favorite fragrances of all time and was my first niche purchase as well. So I love Royal Oud. That's just an incredible woody fragrance, but he was behind that. And he also made Frederic Maule's The Moon, which I've never got my nose on, but I've heard that's a very good natural oud fragrance that I would love to try out. But those are just some fragrances he is behind, and of course Russian tea as well, man. So he has a phenomenal nose from at least everything I've tried so far that he has made. Top notch. So with all that information out of the way, let's go ahead and look at the packaging and presentation you will get with Russian tea now. All right, so looking at the packaging you're gonna get with Russian tea, and most from the house of Masque Milano, it is a very elegant looking packaging. You of course have the act, which by the way, all fragrances from Masque Milano have different numbers for different acts and stuff, which is pretty interesting. And they all have like a logo behind it, which in this case is a nice kind of flower. I don't know if it kind of looks like a dead flower, but yeah, there is a flower behind there. Of course, Russian tea, and then just a quote right here as well. And then what's awesome about Masque Milano, and I talked about this with the Tango review, is they actually list the perfumer's name on the box, actually on the back as well, and interpreted by Julian Raskinet, and also on the bottle, kind of like what Frederic Maule does. And I just love it when they actually give recognition to the perfumer. Masque Milano right there. On the bottom, you do have your barcode and batch code to authenticate your product and see when your product was actually produced. And by the way, this is an eau de parfum concentration as seen right there. And then on the back, you actually have more of like the flower design with your head notes, heart notes, and base notes as well, which is awesome they include that. But yeah, all in all, and a phenomenal packaging from Masque Milano. Let's look at the bottle now. All right, so taking a look at the bottle, of course you have this iconic Masque Milano bottle that I just absolutely love, guys. It does come with a nice rubberized kind of cap, But on the front, you do have Masque kind of embossed all the way around, which looks great. Of course, your act with the flower, Russian tea logoed right there. On the top, you have the act. Nothing on the back, but on the bottom, you do have your sticker, which is some information. Now, this is where it's very interesting. So the cap, I mean, it's not the heaviest cap, but it is rubberized, which is nice. Inside the cap, you have MM for Masque Milano right there. And then on the top of the atomizer, Russian tea, but here's where it's really cool. You have the name of Julian Raskinet around the top as well embossed. So that is just awesome. And then of course, Masque Milano all the way around the atomizer collar as well. Now, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, wait till you see the atomizer of these fragrances. Best of the best. Cap does click into place as well. In the top, you have mint, black pepper, and raspberry. In the middle, you have black tea, magnolia, and everlasting flower. In the base, you have leather, incense, birchwood, and labdanum. Now, looking at that note breakdown, of course, you have some tea notes, you have some fruits, you have some mint, and some florals. So, and of course, leather. So let's go ahead and spray this one. And guys, like I said, check out these atomizers. Unbelievable. Second to none. The best atomizers in the game. Look at this. What is that, guys? I've never seen anything like that, and I have 200 bottles within my collection. Just unbelievable with those atomizers. But let's go ahead and see what we get from the opening and just remind myself of this opening as well. All right, so within the opening of Russian tea, what I get primarily is a huge burst of mint. Now, the mint actually kind of gives it a cooling, cold factor to this fragrance, the composition, which kind of reminds me of the country of Russia, which is kind of interesting. Of course, Russia is a very cold country, and you do get that cooling aspect with this, guys. So yeah, very heavy on mint, and you're gonna have to love mint if you're gonna want to try this fragrance. Now, the mint does kind of come across like a toothpaste a little bit. It is very, very solid. It's just extremely cooling to the nose. Now, alongside that cooling mint, you also, of course, have a nice fruity raspberry note, which actually stands out quite a bit to my nose. It's sort of a similar raspberry that I pick up on in Tuscan Leather, which of course, Tuscan Leather is another raspberry leather combo fragrance, which actually this is as well. But of course, it takes a whole different route. It smells nothing like Tuscan Leather, but the raspberry is very, very similar. I actually just love raspberry within fragrances. It just adds a nice fruity touch that is a little bit unique, and most of the time when you look at fragrances with fruits and stuff, they usually use like pineapple, grapefruit, stuff like that. So raspberry is a nice, unique touch. Now, of course, the black tea definitely does come through. It's like a little bit after the initial opening alongside the mint and raspberry. Now, of course, it is a black tea. It's not green tea. It is black tea because in Russia, that's what they're known for, is their black tea is what they mostly drink over there. So yeah, you definitely have a nice black, almost kind of like a smoky black tea in here that is done so well, man. I have a few tea dominant fragrances, and this one I think is my favorite tea-based fragrance by far. Just the quality, it smells so natural, like you're just sipping on a nice hot cup of black tea. Now, as this fragrance actually dries down, what stands out the most is, of course, when I say the smokiness from the black tea, that's actually coming from the birch and incense, which is within the composition. But you also have a nice rugged leather. And the leather, it just smells so natural, which of course, you can't get a natural leather within fragrance because it just doesn't work like that. But the leather is kind of like ombre leather, like that new car smell. Black leather is what you get within Russian tea. And just all those notes combined together, you have the raspberry, the leather, you have the tea, of course, the mintiness, the incense, and birch. Whoa, just all those things combined together is just so done very well, man. Now, I do wish the opening of Russian tea did last a little bit longer because that opening is extremely complex with the raspberry and the mint, but the mint and the raspberry are short-lived. They don't last that long. I think it lasts around an hour or so, then it starts to disappear, and this goes into the black tea, leather, birch, and incense is what I mostly get after the opening of this fragrance. But that opening is very nice. And then it does turn a little bit more linear. It doesn't change much after that opening, unfortunately, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because the leather and the black tea and the smokiness is just done so well, man. And it does kind of remind me of Russia, to be honest with you. I've never been to Russia before, but when you think of Russia, you think obviously cold, you think of maybe like leather, because it's very cold over there, people wearing leather jackets and stuff like that. and of course sipping on tea, like black tea. That's exactly how this fragrance comes across, man. They did a phenomenal job kind of interpreting Russian tea. Hats off to Masque Milano for doing such a phenomenal job with this fragrance. Now, to be honest with you guys, this is 100% a signature worthy fragrance. I almost consider making this my signature scent myself because at the moment, wouldn't consider I have a signature scent because I'm always wearing something different. But man, this right here is just very versatile. You can wear this pretty much all year round, even though in the hot like summer months and stuff, you might want to go a little bit less on the trigger because this stuff is very strong, especially with that tea and the smokiness and stuff like that. It can come across a little bit cloying and stuff just because it's so potent, but it is a very versatile fragrance. Now, as far as occasions go that I would say to wear it, probably, honestly guys, I would say you can rock this one on any occasion. If you're going to work, it would work great because there's nothing really daring or offensive about it. Just comes across like black tea, fruity, and a little bit minty and smoky as well. But yeah, nothing really daring. It is definitely office safe, I would say. But also if you're dressing up, this will work great. So it can come across very casual and also very formal. This would also work pretty good for a date night situation because it does have that leather note in there, which kind of gives it a nice sexy masculine touch to the composition. So yeah guys, you can just rock this one any season pretty much, even though it would probably work the best in the colder months, but you can still pull it off in the spring and summer, and also pretty much any occasion, casual or formal. So as far as age groups go for Russian tea, now I had to think about this one a little bit because I guess it does lean a little bit more mature because it is unique. It has that black tea note, it has leather, of course. It's also smoky, and it may be a little bit peppery as well, especially as it dries down a little bit further. But yeah, it definitely does lean on the more mature side. I would say anyone probably 25 and up is what would suit this fragrance the best, at least in my head. It doesn't come across juvenile or youthful by any means, so yeah, definitely more on the mature side. So let's talk about performance about Russian tea. Now, honestly, guys, I have no complaints with all the Masque Milanos I've tried so far. And that's probably why they come in 35 mils because they are so potent, so strong that you don't even need to spray that much. And these will last a very long time with anyone's collection. But as far as the projection and longevity, now longevity, I did get around 8+ hours with Russian tea. And the projection, guys. Now, I did go nose blind to this one pretty quick just because I do spray a little bit more than the average person. I go nose blind the fragrances in general pretty fast. But when I actually did my certain tests, when I test fragrances as far as projection and stuff goes, this stuff was pushing off my skin for around like 3 hours or so, very, very heavily. Then it started to settle down a little bit more to like a little bit more of a skin set up until the 8-hour mark. If you spray your clothes with this one, guys, it's gonna last a very long time and project easily around like 8 hours or so, because I have a story for you guys. At work, I actually sprayed my clothes, my jacket, and I hung my jacket up. And I was in a situation where I was walking by my jacket throughout the day, even though it was kind of far from me, but when I walked by it, I would get a huge burst of Russian tea projecting off that. And that was the first time I actually wore this one. And that's why I almost considered making this my signature scent, because man, that projection and the sillage from this fragrance is pretty much to die for. It smells phenomenal in the air, very masculine, very rugged, and yeah, just no complaints whatsoever when it comes to the performance and the scent profile of this stuff, especially in the air, guys. It is just so incredible. So that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for my review of Russian tea. Like I said in the intro, guys, if you love tea dominant fragrances or leather fragrances as well, like if you're a fan of ombre leather, Tuscan leather, or just tea fragrances, you have to check out Masque Milano's Russian tea without a doubt. It's one of the best leather tea-based fragrances money can buy, at least from what I've tested. But leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it. Let me know down below if you tried anything from Masque Milano and what is your favorite from the house. And if you're gonna actually think about picking this one up, definitely leave a comment down below. But per usual, leave a like, subscribe if you guys haven't already, and I'll catch all you guys in the next upload. Take care, everybody.